Monday is fun day. Welcome into another edition of the Joe Raineri Show, brought to you by one of our featured cappers of the day, TrendyBets.com. And don't forget, coming up exactly 1 hour, we will have your NBA Trendy Bets Play of the Day. You don't want to miss that. They were on fire last week with their NBA plays, but you'll get that coming up in just an hour. Also, uwager.eu. Want to thank them for being a part of the show. Thrive Fantasy, all the fine folks at wagertalk.com, including Ralph Michaels, who has an interesting take on tonight's Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Los Angeles Rams. We're going to hear from him a little bit later this hour. Also, one of our newest members of the team here, you're going to get to talk to him in just about 25 minutes. Halftime Magic. Scott from halftimemagic.com is going to stop by the show. You're going to meet him, and you're also going to learn, while you may just want to forget about the early betting, the early on betting, the early line betting, and just concentrate on what happens at halftime. He's going to explain all that. You'll have a chance to meet him, and that's coming up all over the next hour and 25 minutes. And maybe the fun part about this today is that I get to talk to an old friend of mine, Alphonse Sidney, part of the HeatBeatMiami.com, the 5 Reasons Sports Network. He's going to stop by, and we're going to talk some Miami Heat because it's getting depressing here in Miami. Of all of the professional sports teams and college teams, I expect so much more out of the Miami Heat fan base. I understand why it's so hard to be a Miami Dolphins fan. I mean, it's most of you guys probably watching now weren't even born the last time that they were relative. And it's gotten to the point with Miami Dolphin fans that they've given up all hope. Every year it's the same thing. Usually right around week 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We're talking about firing a coach, getting rid of Ryan Tannehill. This guy sucks. That guy sucks. Stephen Ross should sell the team. I understand why it's so hard to be a Miami Dolphins fan. They have pretty much thrown the towel in. They threw it in years ago. All right? Nobody gives a rip about the Florida Panthers. Can we be realistic? Most people don't even know there's a hockey team here in South Florida, so nothing from them. The Marlins can change the colors, can change the hat, can get rid of that putrid thing, whatever the hell that psychedelic Alice in Wonderland monument was out in center field there. They can get rid of all of that, okay? And they can claim to be new, but you can't polish shit, Derek Jeter. I hate to break it to you, but you can't polish shit, man. And no matter how you try a new coat of paint and all of this other stuff you're trying to do, you're out eating croquetas down in Miami, you're walking into little cafes, you're having a cafecito. It doesn't change the fact that the Miami Marlins are shit, and there's nothing they can do that's going to change that until they start winning some games and bringing in some high-profile names. You had the high-profile names, but you traded them all away, including this year's MVP in the National League. So it's hard for Miami. It's hard for Marlins fans to be able to get back on that, woohoo, where are the Miami Marlins train. Who is there? University of Miami, Mark Richt. He does so well against Florida State and Virginia Tech, and then he goes on these 4-game losing streaks during the year. And it's been, since early 2000s that the University of Miami Hurricanes football team has been relevant. You know, there's nothing, there's not a lot to be FAU. You know what I mean? What do you got there? What is it? Joey Bag of Donuts? What was his like Twitter? Not his Twitter, his Grinder, not Grinder. What the hell was it? His what's that? Tinder. Yes, his Tinder profile. Grinder. Sorry about that. But really, I mean, there is nothing to be really, really excited about in this town in South Florida except being a Miami Heat fan. And being a Miami Heat fan, you Heat fans were always just a notch above everybody else in this town when it came to fandom and it came to fan bases. They were not Miami Marlins fans. They were not Miami Dolphin fans. They're not Panther fans, all 4 of them. No, they're not. They're not, University of Miami. No, they are Miami Heat fans. And being a Miami Heat fan means there's a certain pride, a certain class that comes with being a Miami Heat fan. And for some reason, that has all gone to the shitter lately with this team. And I don't get it. I don't understand why. And I guess maybe it's because Miami Heat fans have been spoiled for so long and they have been surrounded by such crap for so long that it was easy to be able to stand out among all the rest. And then LeBron comes to town last night and waxes the Miami Heat, 113-97. LeBron scored, 50-some-odd points himself. And the future of the Miami Heat, and we know he's the future because they haven't traded him as much as they tried to trade him, but Josh Richardson ends up throwing a damn shoe last night and gets himself thrown out. Spoelstra's got a technical. It looks like it's going in, it's total pandemonium with the Miami Heat organization. It looks like it's total craziness with the Miami Heat players. And worse, it's getting to be total chaos among Miami Heat fans. And I'm here to ask and beg of you all, Miami Heat fans. You are the only hope as a sports media member. You are the only hope we have in this town of being stable. You are our stable fan base here. And already I am getting crap all over the place on Twitter and every place else about how they should tank. Have you met Pat Riley? Okay, you've got to trade everybody, fire Spoelstra. You got to lose every game. We need draft. We're a dozen and a half games into the season, and you have now turned into the Miami Marlins and the Miami Dolphin fans. And I am begging you to please stop it. So that is why I'm bringing on my good friend, Alphonse Sidney. He's joining us via the Miami Acura hotline because I am hoping this man who covers, okay? He covers the Miami Heat with the 5 Reasons Sports Network. He's part of the crew at heatbeatmiami.com. And Alphonse, I am hoping you can talk some sense into the Miami Heat fan base and please tell them to stop with the craziness. Can you do that for me, brother?
I mean, at this point, I don't know what else to say to the fan base. It's gone to the point it's just kind of tough. I mean, people are upset. People are frustrated. I think half the fan base wants to throw their shoe into the crowd, like Josh Richardson last night. It's tough, man. It's a tough season. It really is. It starts. I understand why some people are starting to question exactly what is the long-term plan, if you will.
Mm. But isn't it, Alphonse, we've been down this road before, too, right? I mean, the core of these guys were the same core that went 30-11 a few years back in the second half. We've been there. We've done that with this crew already. And it seems like even last year, we didn't get off to a great start last year either. But the reality is it's a mediocre team being weighed down by unbelievably stupid contracts. That's going to take a little while to work itself out here, and I don't know what the fan base is expecting here. Is it just a matter of they don't see the light at the end of the tunnel?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think it's so there's two things that are going on here. If you think that the Heat aren't going to make the playoffs this year, I think you're wrong. Mm-hmm. I think they will make the playoffs, but I don't think that is going to satisfy a fan base who kind of dealt with 4 years of being middle of the pack, middle of the road, mediocre. And there's a whole bunch of reasons behind that. We can talk about Chris Bosh's blood clots, striking out in free agency. But I think the biggest thing that has fans worried is in the past you looked and said, okay, well, in 2 years we'll have maximum flexibility. Because it always seemed like Riley maintained flexibility going forward. Mm-hmm. But it looks like right now, I mean, is there the flexibility that there used to be? So I guess the worry right now is, are you locked into this team till 2021, 2022? And in all honesty, you probably are. there's something to be said for having some expiring contracts this summer. When you start talking about Goran and Hassan and TJ. And, it all depends on what you can get back for them. And then in 2020, you have a lot of money coming off the books. So I guess right now it's, guys, just be patient. And I think people are just tired of hearing that. But, is it a smart thing to do? Trade your young guys to go after a guy like John Wall and pay him $45 million a year? I mean, is that the right move? I don't know. I think this team is more than one player away. So you kind of have to bide your time and hope that the organization makes the smartest moves possible.
Alphonse Sidney joining us, part of the 5 Reasons Sports Network. He hosts two amazing podcasts, which he's going to tell you about here in just a few. But, my thing is, Alphonse, here in South Florida, and you know this, man, the Miami Heat fan base was always the fan base we could rely upon to be just a cut above everyone else. We know the Miami Dolphin fan base, they haven't been relative. No, most people weren't even born the last time the Miami Dolphins were relevant. The Miami Marlins, they've pretty much burned every bridge that they can in this town. Nobody even realizes that we play hockey. The Miami Heat fans were always supposed to be just that much. They were the class. They were the ones that were the most realistic. And somewhere along the line here, they've become Miami Dolphin fans, and I don't get it. Is it a fact that we've just been so spoiled, and maybe last night watching LeBron go off for 50 some odd points last night, maybe it was a reminder of how far we have fallen?
Well, that's the thing. I think you're giving, as someone who deals with the Heat fan on Twitter on a daily basis, I think you're kind of assigning too many great traits to this fan base. Like, I love them to death, believe me. But they are irrational. They're unreasonable. But at the same time, you got to remember, we've had, as a fan base and as an organization, there's been a lot of success. So, yeah, the obnoxiousness, just the crassness, all of that has just been covered up by the fact that we've been a good team. And then there was always this belief that Riley's going to turn it around. The next meeting, Riley's going to throw some rings on the table, and everything's going to change magically. Every summer we have all these grandiose ideas of, we're going to get Durant, we're going to get Gordon Hayward. Well, every summer is something different. And so now I think the cold realization is setting in on what happens to NBA franchises after a decade of dominance or even a decade of relevance. You're going to have some lean years, and the patience and the fortitude of this fan base is being tested. The Dolphins fans have been going through it for 2 decades. The Heat fan has had 3 years of mediocrity, and you see what's happening already.
Yeah, and we say mediocrity, and Alphonse Sidney joining us, part of the Heat Beat podcast, also part of the 5 Reasons Sports Network. You say mediocrity, but we just said they're going to make the playoffs. When everything is all said and done, the reality is this is still going to be, in all likelihood, a playoff team, albeit maybe a 6, 7, or 8 seed. But it's a playoff team, and it's fascinating to me that we have become in this town a championship or bust squad and mentality when we're not even we haven't been that in a long time.
I get it, but and listen, believe me, I'm usually railing against the spoiled, rotten Heat fan, but where I will play devil's advocate is when you're in a league where more than half of the teams make the playoffs, is being a playoff team really a goal, right? Mm-hmm. So you can be absolutely average, which the Heat are. They're absolutely average, and they'll still make the playoffs. And if you're seeing a team on the rise, you go from a 10th seed to an 8th seed to a 6th seed to a 5th seed, that's one thing. But you're actually seeing a team that's just either right where they have been or actually trending a little bit downwards. And I think that's where the panic comes in, especially when you look around the team and you see the young guys And what you see is a lot of guys who are just role players. You know, you don't see. You know, you're not dealing with. You know, you're not dealing with a team where you have this future superstar. You're not the Suns watching Devin Booker come into his own, right? You're watching Josh Richardson, who is probably, you know, at his peak Eddie Jones or Caron Butler. You're not watching the next great superstar. So I get the frustration. I understand where it's coming from, and you know, making the playoffs in the NBA really, it's the way this league is set up. You're almost rewarded for being bad for a few years, and almost the worst thing you possibly can do is be in the middle of the road. And the Heat are right exactly there. They're in the middle of the road.
How much, Alphonse Sidney joining us? Alphonse, how much of the Jimmy Butler drama leading up over the last couple of months has fueled this fire of disappointment and just bitterness and angriness? And it had to play like that in the locker room too. I mean, let's face it, all of these guys in that locker room at one point or another heard that they were going to be traded, had to have heard that they were going to be traded. I mean, how much do you think that ultimately not happening but just being brought up was enough to be able to maybe boil over to what we witnessed like last night?
It's funny, Ethan Skolnick, head of the Five Reasons Network, actually wrote an article on MiamiHeatBeat.com about this season, and he did point that out, that there's a strange feeling in that locker room that, you know, he said he's never really experienced before. And is it the Jimmy Butler stuff? Is it just losing? Is it just kind of maybe, you know, at some point people get tired of each other? These guys have been together for 3 years and haven't really experienced that much success. Who knows what it is? But as for the fan base, it was one of the things that I was worried about when the Jimmy Butler stuff started happening. Because sometimes fans don't understand exactly, okay, yeah, there's scuttlebutt, there's conversations happening between organizations. That doesn't mean it's going to happen. And the disappointment that has come from that, you have to think it's led and it's kind of increased the frustration from the fan base. And at the end of the day, if Riley offered Josh Richardson, Kelly Olynyk, and a first-rounder, and they said no, you know what? You got to eat that, man.
Yep.
It is what it is. So, yep. I mean, I feel like the organization is trying, and we just got, you know, at the end of the day, I do trust Pat, Spo, Andy Ellisberg, now Shane Battier in that front office. I trust that they will make the right moves. But yeah, it hasn't been the easiest season to watch or to cover, and I'm sure so far for the players to even play.
I hate to even say this, but I've got to say it because we're talking about a core of guys that have been together year 3 now with the core of these guys. Are you telling me Dion Waiters means that much to this team?
No.
I'm just because everything, you know, everyone keeps going back to the 30-11 second half, and the 30-11, the splits with that team and what Dion Waiters was doing at that time is very hard to duplicate. I think we can all agree upon that. But I mean, is he that big a catalyst? Could he be somebody that actually that's the spark this team needs? Because it's not like he wasn't a couple of years ago.
I will say this. When you talk about Dion and you kind of look at the roster and what's been going on lately, the fourth quarter execution has been abysmal. I mean, absolutely abysmal. Like, I forget, there was a recent game, they're getting everything they want inside. And then the last 6 minutes, they're shooting nothing but threes and long twos. It's almost like, it's just like you have a bunch of guys who just do not understand the situation. And if you also see what's been happening, and I know there's a lot of people, the analytics guys, the guys who are really deep into the numbers, don't like what Dwayne brings to the team. But what Dwayne brings to the team is a confidence and an experience in the last 6 minutes of a close game that the rest of this roster doesn't have. We've seen before that Goran is just not the same guy at the end games, right? Mm-hmm. And then you have Josh Richardson, who has made a bunch of boneheaded decisions at the end of these games. Justice Winslow has made a lot of bad passes and taken a lot of bad shots at the end of these games. So ever since Dwayne has been out, you know, congrats to Dwayne and the new baby. you don't have James Johnson there. James Johnson was closing a lot of games for you last year. And without Dion, I hate to say it, but without Dion, who is there? Who's the closer on this team right now? And if you look at this recent stretch, the absence of a closer, a guy who understands the situation and is comfortable with the ball in his hands at the end of games, has just not been there, and you kind of see the results.
Yeah, and Hassan Whiteside has seemed to have lost all touch around the rim the last couple of games as well. So it's not going.
Oh my God!
Yeah, I mean it's been a rough couple of weeks. So I get the frustration and what we anytime a dude throws a shoe, all right, and especially your young star player throws a shoe, things are not going well in that locker room. And do you think it's because maybe Dwayne is not as plugged in as he has been in the past? Maybe Dwayne's got other things going on, obviously, with the family, and all the best are there. But maybe final year, he's got a lot of other engagements. It just seems like that kind of stuff doesn't happen if there's real leadership in that locker room where these young guys are doing things like we're seeing them do.
Well, I mean, they have the leadership. They still have Udonis Haslam there. As far as Dwayne's concerned, I mean, I don't think if this wasn't his last, his last dance, if this absence would be as prolonged. You see Goran's down for probably the rest of this week. The season's weird. It's the team I'm watching on the court, which is where I still think the Heat are going to make the playoffs, and I've kind of been trying to settle everybody down. But lately, I just don't see a lot of Heat culture out there. I don't see guys scrapping and fighting. And Tyler Johnson actually had an interesting quote the other day where he said, "We used to be some dogs, and we got paid, and now everybody's chilling." And that is probably the most disconcerting thing you, as a Heat fan, to hear, especially when you're mad that they paid half these guys in the first place.
Yep.
To not find out that that they've lost a little bit for one of their own to say that they've lost some of the fire. I mean, you just don't want to hear that as a fan. And you know how fans are when it comes to contracts and comes to money and it comes to effort. And I just feel like you haven't seen the effort. You haven't seen the late game execution. And who knows, when Dwayne comes back from his hiatus, Dion puts some of the sandwiches down and gets back on the court.
Yep.
Who knows? Maybe you'll see a turnaround. But at the end of the day, when you talk short-term and long-term, short-term, yeah, they'll probably make the playoffs, but long-term, I understand why fans feel like they don't see a plan in the works.
Why are they so bad at home? I mean,
home cooking. I
don't know. I mean, why are they so bad in American Airlines? I don't know. It just seems strange. I mean, the one place with this fan base, you would think that the Miami Heat would thrive. They'd be better here than they would be on the road. But it just seems over the last couple of years. I mean, they're not very. What are they? 3-6, I think, now on the at home this year, and it was kind of the same tune last year. It used to be a legitimate home court advantage, but it seems like we've kind of lost that even here.
I mean, they're bad everywhere.
Yeah. But they should be good at here, though, right? They should be good at the AAA instead of, what I mean? Instead of chucking shoes, they should be good at least here at the AAA. Keep your damn shoes on, dude.
Look what they've done with the Vice Knights jerseys on.
Yeah. Probably
the second most exciting thing about this season, besides Dwayne coming back, is the new uniforms and that new home court, and I believe they're 0-4, 0-5 on that court now. I mean, it has not been the best season. It really hasn't.
Now, let me ask you this. Alphonse Sidney joining us, part of the 5 Reasons Sports Network, part of the Miami Heat Beat podcast. It's already started. You saw it. I know you saw it here today on Twitter. So are we hoping for some sort of John Wall, Bradley Beal, come to Miami mid-season trade? Is that even a reality? Or a Carmelo Anthony? Is any of that even a reality? Should we even be considering it, Alphonse?
I'm sure the Melo, please, God, no. And I think the Heat have already it's already come out that the Heat have they have no interest. I'm sure they'll kick the tires on Wall and Beal.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know what that does. I mean, what does Bradley Beal? We have a Miami Heat beat group chat, and we were going back and forth today. And I don't know what bringing Beal does, because unless you unload contracts, Beal and then nobody else this summer, what does that get you?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of more of a proponent of I've never been team tank. I never want to see my team lose. I don't think there's enough money in the world to pay Eric Spoelstra to lose games on purpose, to put in bad lineups. Right now, he doesn't have a choice.
No, he doesn't.
There's just a lot of bad lineups.
It is what it is.
I do feel like what the Heat need to do is anything past 2020, they need to start looking at how they can move off of some of these contracts. I mean, even if you talk about selling guys low for second-round draft picks, whatever it takes to kind of clear the decks and reset this thing sooner rather than later, I think is the way to go. Picking up Bradley Beal and either having to trade first-round picks or young assets, guys on cheap deals, guys not signed past 2020, doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. Unless you're getting rid of Dion Waiters or James Johnson, Kelly Olynyk, one of these guys signed to these 4-year deals, I'm not a proponent of making that deal.
All right. Well, you got to tell us about the podcast. Alphonse Sidney joining us, because honestly, you got two of one of the best listens going on right now. Not only your personal, but what you're doing with the Heat Beat podcast. So tell us about it.
We have the Miami Heat Beat podcast, and I'm also the host of Light Skin Opinions, both on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Miami Heat Beat, the name says it all. We have 10 rotating guests. Sounds like a lot.
Yeah.
But we have a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun with the podcast. Even in a boring season, believe me, we will keep you entertained. We try to keep it as fun as humanly possible. We do get down into the numbers. We have Nikias Duncan, Christian Hernandez, 2 guys who are way into the numbers. We have Leif, who's kind of an insider. We will give you the best coverage you're going to get on the Miami Heat, and we're also going to try to be the most entertaining Heat coverage you're possibly going to find. And then you also have Light Skin Opinions, which is more, we do sports, pop culture, politics. We kind of try to intersect everything there. We get into a lot of topics that we like to make people uncomfortable. We think it's fun.
Yeah.
If you're comfortable for the entire hour you're listening to Light Skin Opinions, we haven't done our job very well.
Yes.
We get into relationship stuff. We get into just about everything. So if you're looking for something a little bit different, a little bit offbeat, a little bit edgier, that'll be Light Skin Opinions. If you're looking for some great Miami Heat coverage, that's Miami Heat Beat. Also check out MiamiHeatBeat.com. Like I said, we just had a column written by Ethan Skolnick. We all write for the site. We do a lot of videos. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and then the whole 5 Reasons Sports Network. Constantly breaking news about the Dolphins, Marlins uniform coverage, Panthers. We have 15 different podcasts. No matter what you're into sports-wise, South Florida-wise, we got you covered.
And let Ethan know. I didn't get the invite. You've had like 47 different watch parties, and I'm yet to get an invite, dude. So I'm not saying that I'm holding it personally, you personally responsible, but dude, I can't seem to get an invite to any one of these damn places. So I'm just throwing it out there. You may want to mention to Ethan, hook a brother up here with a free T-shirt or something. Damn, dude.
Listen, brother, when we put those posts out on Twitter, everybody's invited. Listen, the next one, you're getting a personal invite from me. The next one, we do the Miami Heat. We do the Heat watch parties at Duffy's in North Miami Beach. even if the team sucks, that's an awesome place to watch a game. So
yes,
you'll definitely be out of that one.
Yeah, he is Alphonse Sidney at Alf954. Do yourself a favor, check him out. Also, 5 Reasons Sports Network at 5 Reasons Sports. Great stuff. Everything that is Miami, that is what these guys are. Alphonse, listen, I'm sorry that it took some dude chucking a shoe for me to think about you and ask you to come on the show, but you were the first person that came to mind, dude, when I saw him whip that shoe into the crowd. So I appreciate the time, brother. Best of luck to you. Have a happy Thanksgiving, man, and hopefully next time we talk, we'll be talking about a more competent Miami Heat team.
All right, brother. Same to you.
Appreciate it, man. Alphonse Sidney. Make sure that you guys check it out. Part of the 5 Reasons Sports Network at Alf954. Yeah, honestly, it happened last night when I saw he got chucked out of the game for throwing a shoe. For some reason, Alphonse was the first guy that I actually I thought about here. It's a little weird, but nobody covers the Miami Heat. All the Miami teams, like those guys over at the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Love those guys. Smart, intelligent, on top of it, opinionated, everything that sports content should be. Those guys are rocking it over there at 5 Reasons Sports. So want to thank Alphonse. All right, we're just getting started here. We got all sorts of fun stuff, great information coming up your way. We're going to talk about the good, bad, and ugly from over the weekend. I'm going to recognize the lunatics that are already gathering up in the chat room here across all of the social media platforms, Twitch, Twitter, Periscope, Facebook, YouTube. I can see they're already lined up. Everyone's got a little something to bitch and moan about from over the weekend. Who missed this? Who missed that? We're going to cover that. But more importantly, I'm going to introduce you to one of the new services, part of the Joe Raineri family here. It is totally different. It's unlike anything, guys, that you are ever going to hear about. It's a different approach. It's a different program. You guys are going to love it, and I can't wait to introduce him to you. It is Scott from halftimemagic.com. Wait until you hear what he has to say. It may change the way you view sports betting from here on out. It's definitely something that you need to hear. We always say, right? Knowledge is power. We are about to drop some knowledge on you that is crazy when I tell you absolutely crazy. And just a show reminder, don't forget this week, ScottHalftimeMagic.com is coming your way next. The Captain _capping, he'll be joining us tomorrow, and then a very special pre-Thanksgiving show with Ralph Michaels from WagerTalk.com, getting you all set up for all of those NFL games that are going to be on Thanksgiving, and that is coming up Wednesday. You know that the best handicappers hang out here. Make sure you guys follow, subscribe, do all of that good stuff for us. We certainly appreciate it. At Joe Raineri on Twitter, at Joe Raineri Show, pretty much every place else. And we do want to thank also our good friends over at Miami Acura for making us part of the family. Miami Acura, South Dixie Highway, Palmetto Bay. Make sure you take a test drive. The all-new 2019 RDX, completely redesigned. The damn thing practically drives itself. And if a new car or even a certified pre-owned car is what's on the Santa list this year, don't do anything before you head over to Miami Acura. Stop by and see him on South Dixie Highway if you're in the 305. Outside of the 305, you can check him out, miamiacura.com, or call them at 855-564-4669. That's 855-564-4669. Just tell them that Joe sent you. I'm telling you, once you get into that new 2019 RDX, you may never want to get out of it. It is that crazy. Plus, the deals right now, unlike anything we have seen all year. Take advantage of it. Hit them up, miamiacura.com, or call them, 855-564-4669. And coming up here in 90 seconds, you're going to meet Scott from halftimemagic.com. I'm telling you guys, it's going to change the way that you look at betting from here on out. Knowledge is power. We're about to bestow a whole lot of it on you. 90 seconds. Don't go anywhere. It's the Joe Raineri Show.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Why? Because you can save 45% on packages compared to your high-priced cable bill. Wow. Take those giant scissors out and cut the cable and save with Dish TV. Plus, you get a free DVR upgrade to record your favorite shows and free installation. And with Dish Anywhere, you can watch TV for free on your mobile device. Act fast. You can save hundreds of dollars. Does your cable company do that for you? I don't think so. Get all the best TV programming at your fingertips at a fraction of the price of cable TV. So say adios, arrivederci, goodbye to the high cable bill and save up to 45% on Dish TV packages today. These are limited time offers and can change at any time. Call fast. 800-293-0328. 800-293-0328. 800-293-0328. That's 800-293-0328.
Do you use the expensive blue or yellow pills to charge your sex life? Are you thinking about it? What if we can promise you the same results for less than $3 a pill? If you're paying $20 a pill for the other pills, you're getting taken to the cleaners. Our pills deliver the exact same results for less than $3. You'll save more than $16 a pill for the same results. And right now, radio callers will get 44 blue or yellow pills for $120 with free discreet shipping. You can save more than $700 off pharmacy prices. Charge your sex life now and save a ton of money. Call now and get your 44 pills and save over $700 and qualify for free shipping. Stop overpaying and call right now.
800-764-9168. 800-764-9168. 800-764-9168. That's 800-764-9168.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
800-761-1427. 800-761-1427. 800-761-1427. That's 800-761-1427.
Get ready to talk sports. It's the Say It With Me podcast. Now here's your host, Joe Raineri.
Coming up, 22 minutes away from your NBA Play of the Day, brought to you by TrendyBets.com. They are, without a doubt, one of the best new sports handicapping services. We give them 5 stars. We love them. And, of course, they wouldn't be on this show if they weren't the real deal. And right now, if you head over to TrendyBets.com and you use the code, and it's very simple as I look terrible there. So let's go ahead and see if, watch this. Bam. Just like that, huh? You gotta love live streaming. It's a lot of fun. TrendyBets.com. Use the code, okay? And we love these guys. And we love their NBA picks because they were on fire last week with their free play of the day. But use the code JRS25, okay? Give the service a shot. I'm telling you, you won't be disappointed with what they got going on there. But you get 25% off anything. It could be a one pick. It could be a couple of days. Go over, check out the website. Love their site, TrendyBets.com. Use the code JRS25. I'm telling you, you won't be disappointed. And I do want to send a shout out, by the way, to let me make sure, is Brian there? Yeah, Brian is great. Brian is already trying the whole let's tank for Zion thing going with the Miami Heat. I knew that wasn't going to be long. As long as you're not talking about bringing Carmelo Anthony here and more Zion, less Dion, the dude he's on fire over there on Periscope. So we want to welcome him in. Thank you very much there, Brian, for for stopping by and hanging out with us there with Alphonse. Some great stuff happening on Periscope. You guys rule. And once again, we do want to thank, of course, just the sponsors who make all of this happen here today, including Timeshare Release, Resort Release, 800-898-0816, Dish TV, 800-293-0328, and, of course, the Laser Spine Institute, 855-720-BACK. That's 855-720-BACK. Hey, guys, welcome in here. We're excited today because we get to introduce you to a new kind of service, a service that goes about sports investing just a little bit differently. And you guys know we love on the Joe Raineri Show to provide as much knowledge and insight as humanly possible. And we love to bring only the pros on, guys that have an edge, guys that understand what their edge is and are able to go ahead and articulate to you how you can use this knowledge in order to become a better sports bettor. And joining us today via the Miami Hack Hero Hotline is Scott from Halftime Magic, halftimemagic.com, also on Twitter at Halftime Magic. And Scott, thanks for coming on, my friend, spending some time with us.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
All right, so let's first start. If somebody's going, Halftime Magic, all right, let's start at the beginning. What is Halftime Magic? How did it come about? How long you been doing this? Give us all that good stuff.
So Halftime Magic is basically halftime wagering. So, the edge is in seeing how teams are interacting, first half, and then placing a much more educated wager on the second half after you know how certain teams are interacting. So this is all born out of frustration, basically. For 20-plus years, we were, big gamblers, traders, gamblers, and just never really any consistent success, betting full games and betting, before games went off. And, we just started, halftime wagering's been around for quite some time, but it wasn't really prevalent where it was accessible everywhere like it is now. But once it started to become accessible, we started to kind of say, we would watch a game just, with our naked eye and, say, wow, this team's a lock the second half or whatever the case may be. And once we really started to dive into it and apply some of the metrics that we use as traders in kind of dissecting stats at halftime, we knew we had something, and we knew we had an edge, a big time edge over these sports books. And the reason is because I don't think people realize these sports book base their lines on it's a cookie cutter method that's based on the full game line, right? So these sports books are not analyzing anything at halftime as far as matchup. Statistical matchups. They're just basing their halftime line on a full game line or a deviation of that. So that is where the huge edge comes in, because you are now betting on a second half that you have a full half of information, and now you have a line that is not adjusted correctly, if that makes any sense.
No, it makes total sense, Scott. So what you're saying is when the lines come out in the beginning of the week, for instance, those lines, and depending on where it starts and where it goes, will also kind of determine where that halftime line is or where that second half line is. And your concern really is not where the line starts or ends, but more what happens in the first half of these games. That really dictates to you whether or not there's a play in the second half.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct, right. So, yeah.
So let's take, for instance, last night in the Chicago Bears and the Minnesota Vikings game. It didn't make a difference if that game went off at -2.5 Chicago, -3.5, -4. It wouldn't have made a difference. The only thing that mattered to you guys was what did the metrics tell you in the first half of games. And it's not always going to be the same in every game or every sport, is it?
No, absolutely not. I mean, and that's the edge, right? So it makes no difference what the line is, the full game line to us. We want to see how the teams are interacting real time. where the edge is that line is the second half line is generated from based on a full game line perspective, right? So, for instance, if a team is minus, this is just a a vanilla example, but if a team is minus 10 in a basketball game and they go to half and they're up 5, most of the time that second half line is going to be right around minus 5, right?
Yes.
Just because that will equal the full game line. That is not indicative of what's actually happening, right? So we're not looking at what the full game line is. We're looking at how the stats matched up in the first half, and then looking at the edge with the line, saying, hey, this team is getting 5 in the second half, and they actually outplayed the team that was giving them 10 points for the game. We know they should not be getting 5 the second half, regardless of what the full game line says, if that makes sense.
And it's across all sports, too. And Scott's joining us, halftimemagic.com, at halftimemagic on Twitter. Do yourselves a favor. Start to follow him on Twitter. Really great. And head over to halftimemagic.com. I know the website's getting redone, but there is some really valuable information on that website, kind of give you an idea of what they do and how they do it. But I do want to point out, Scott, that whether it's college basketball, college football, whether it's Major League Baseball, NHL, whatever it may be, the formula of what you guys do does remain the same. So it's not just a college basketball thing or a college football thing. This formula works across all sports.
Right. Well, we have an algorithm that runs, that dissects each type of sport. As far as baseball or hockey, they don't really have intra-game wagering. Baseball doesn't. I'm not sure about hockey, but we don't specialize in that. Our main sports are NFL football, college football, NBA, and college basketball. So those are the main ones that have consistent halftime lines. So that's what we focus on. But our metrics, across the board are. We look at certain things for a halftime of a football game and certain things at halftime of a basketball game. So that's pretty universal for us.
And, of course, this time of year right now with college basketball, college football, NFL, NBA, I mean, all sorts of opportunities, of course, for you to be able to make those halftime wagers. And that's really what Halftime Magic is all about. So head over to halftimemagic.com. You guys can read up on it. Walk us through, Scott, the process of how do I get, because it sounds like you're under the gun here. I mean, halftimes come, they come and go. So if I'm a client, right, if I have a package of yours, how does it work? I buy the package and then I'm waiting for what from you guys just as the half hits?
Right, so you got to remember there's a very, very short window in these half times, especially NFL. NFL is very fast halftime, but across the board you're looking at a 15-20 minute window to for us to analyze the game and get the play out. So our option to get the play out is text messaging. That's by far the fastest way for someone to get the play and get their own get the play in on their side with enough time. So we've tried in the past the email thing. People sometimes request that. It's just not consistent enough, and email a lot of times is delayed, and it's just not worth our time or worth our players' time. Text messaging is by far the best. So the way it works is the game goes to half. Our computers analyze the game for us, our algorithm. We send out the play via text, and you have at least 10, 15 minutes most times to get that play down. That's how it works.
It's pretty cut and dry. And Scott, what are some of the novice or the bettors always go, they look at they have the full game line, they make a bet on the full game line, and maybe just maybe the game's not going the way that they want it to do. So you've seen it, I've seen it, Scott. All of a sudden they start doubling up the opposite way, the opposite play at halftime for no other reason other than what their eyes are telling them in the game that they're watching. What are some of the mistakes you see bettors make when it comes to placing these halftime in-game wagering?
I mean, you pretty much named it. I mean, people, the naked eye does not give you even a close glimpse of what's really going on in a game metric-wise. I mean, yeah, granted, I mean, if you see a team absolutely dominating another team for a half, then yeah, I mean, that's pretty obvious. But there are so many inner game things that are going on that you're not going to see with your naked eye. That when you look at the stats, everything becomes clear, right? So that I think some people could be successful relatively just watching games, but that's the other drawback, right? How are you going to watch 25 games at one time that are going off, right? So. Yeah, I mean, if you have the time to sit there and watch every game with your naked eye, you definitely have a little bit of an edge. But the edge is not with your naked eye. It's also knowing certain tendencies as well, right? So we were talking a little bit yesterday with you about the halftime of the Bears game, and the Bears dominated the first half, and that was pretty apparent to anybody watching the game. The stats weren't overwhelming. But the other thing was that the game line, the Bears were up 14.5, and in our experience, we know NFL-wise that if a team is up more than 10 points at halftime, they have, especially in the professional ranks, they have a tendency to let up a little bit and let a team back in the game just because they have such a large lead. So knowing that, with our experience, it's not just pure stats; it's also the experience of knowing the different situations in the game. For our plays. So that's also important. Just naked eye. Anybody with a naked eye yesterday watching that game would say, "Oh my God, the Bears are going to win by 50 points," right? And they barely covered for the full game.
Right.
So that's important information to know, and that's where we come in. That's where our expertise comes in. It's not only the pure raw stats and or the naked eye. It's a little bit of both.
It's a very interesting way to look at sports betting. It's one that a lot of folks. They're not used to. It's not what they hear about all the time. Everyone is so used to the full game numbers. And, in the media, we talk a lot about, wow, they're laying 3, they're getting 4.5. The over-under is 53, 55. And a lot of people don't think immediately about saying, you know what, I don't care about that. I only care for the halftime, because it's the halftime that I'm going after, and that is what Halftime Magic is all about. It is Scott joining us from halftimemagic.com. Certainly invite you guys to head over to the website. Also, Twitter at Halftime Magic. Great follow there. And Scott, bettors are going to ask us, all right, so how does it work? If I'm buying a package of 3 games or 5 games, are you telling me that I'm not going to know what games it is that you're going to be sending me plays on? So I'm basically just waiting for a text from you to decide whether or not the game gets played?
Right, absolutely, because there's no way to know, obviously, pre-game which games we're going to play. I mean, that's the whole essence of what we're doing, right? So when we find a game that fits our metrics and we see a tremendous edge, that's when we send out the play. But yeah, there's no possible way to know what games they're going to be until they actually interact, and that's the whole crux of the edge.
Yeah, which again, it's the opposite of what most people are used to, but don't let that be a deterrent. You don't need to necessarily know whether it's the Chiefs-Ram games you're going to get a play on or the Miami Heat game. It doesn't matter. What does matter is that if there is a play to be made across, whether it be college basketball, NBA, NFL, college football, then come the halftime of those games, you're going to get alerted, and you've got to be ready to go ahead and take advantage of that alert at that time.
Right, and you hit it right on the head, right? I mean, there's gamblers, I want to say gamblers out there loosely, that they just want to bet on games that they're watching or games that they like, and that's why gamblers lose, right? Because if people want that action on the game, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with getting action on the game and having a little fun with the game. But if you're looking to make money wagering gambling, that is not. No one will ever make money just betting on the games that they want to watch. This is, you have to be able to take games that have a statistical edge in your favor, whether you're watching them or not. And again, this is for a more serious gambler that understands, that's what's going on. This isn't just for pure entertainment. This is for making money. So if you're interested in making money, then we want you as one of our customers. If you're just interested in games that you want to watch, that's we're not for you.
Yes, no, and I think is it strictly, Scott? Is it strictly analytical with what you guys do, or are you factoring in different trends, or the fact that maybe Ryan Tannehill or a certain quarterback might not be playing this week, or Cam Newton is a little hobbled? Is it just all numbers, or are there some other factors that go into what you guys do in that program in making a decision?
Absolutely, all numbers, statistics, right? So you just, again, you hit it right on the head. If you're going into a game and Cam Newton is hobbled, and you want to bet on him, you have no idea if that's going to have an effect on the game, right? I mean, but at halftime, you're going to know, hey, is he playing up to his capabilities, or is he hobbled and he's not playing where he should be? So that's the whole crux of what we do, is we don't base anything on prior knowledge of the game. We wait to see how they're interacting. We will take into consideration, if a quarterback or a player does go down at in first quarter, second quarter, we will take that in consideration, obviously, because that's a big deal going into the second half. But if there are no major injuries, then we are absolutely 100% statistical in our analysis.
Yeah, and it's a totally different way to approach it as a sports bettor, as a sports investor. But ultimately, when you look at the scope of what they're doing at halftimemagic.com, you realize that, wow, they're taking a lot of the possible guesswork out of that, or they're taking the feeling out of it altogether, and they're going to be sending you plays based upon what the numbers say, based upon the first half, not what happened a week ago, or what happened in that first half is going to dictate whether or not there's a play to be had in the second half. And quite honestly, it's a really intriguing way to go about being a sports bettor or investing in these games. So go to halftimemagic.com, read up on it. And Scott, when they're there, talk about some of the packages that are available to folks right now. I mean, do they have to spend $16,000 for the year, or how is it broken up there?
No, we break up between daily, 2-day, and weekly packages. We even have a monthly package. What we will be offering as well, and we're redoing our website, we have just because we're so confident in our winning percentage, we have over 2,000 documented plays on Twitter since our inception in 2013, and we have over a 58% win percentage, and I think it's like 300 plus 350 something units over that time period. So we are very confident over the long run, long haul, and I mean, a week's time that we will go 58%. Obviously, in a day, anything can happen. I mean, anyone who doesn't understand it shouldn't be gambling anyway. Yes. But over a week's time, for that type of package, if someone purchases that type of package, we will have a guarantee attached to that where, if we can't go 58% over a week's or month time, then, we'll either offer a free package, or we're still determining what we're going to offer. We used to refund money, but it's just too much of a hassle and too much bitching from our players. So Right. So, again, we want players that understand the game, understand we're not going to win every game. Nobody wins every game. They understand that it's a grind, and if they're willing to stick with it, play the same amount every game, that they will end up over 58% winners. And that, for someone, again, that doesn't understand gambling, that doesn't sound like a high winning percentage, but that is, almost world class, right? Yeah. If you can pick games in the long run at 60%, close to 60%, you are a world class handicapper, right? And that's what we are. And we know because, like I said, we have over 2,000 documented plays. So we have packages across the board.
Now,
for everyone.
Now tonight, for instance, the biggest football game through 11 weeks is going to take place between the Kansas City Chiefs and the LA Rams. People have been waiting for this game. So if somebody was to go right now to halftimemagic.com, buy themselves a package to give this thing a shot, it's important to remember that this may be the national game. This could be the football game of the year, but it doesn't necessarily mean there's going to be a play on it tonight. And that's kind of the mindset that you have to understand when you go to Halftime Magic, because you know how it is, Scott. People feel like they're missing out because it's the game of the night, but the problem is that may not be the bet of the night.
Right, and that's why most players don't win, because they want to bet on a game that has no statistical edge per se. So that's exactly right. So again, it very well may be a play, but I can guarantee you there will be, between the numerous basketball and college basketball tournaments going on, and the NBA and NFL, you will get multiple plays in an evening on most nights. So that's, go ahead.
No, and I'm saying, because I'm looking across at your page right here. I mean, they're very affordable. I mean, the packages are extremely affordable. If this is something you're saying that, all right, I don't quite understand it all, but let me give this a shot. Do yourself a favor. You don't have to spend an arm and a leg to check out what Halftime Magic is all about and see for yourself. So the affordability factor is certainly here for folks, Scott.
Absolutely. Especially, if you're playing more than $25 a game, $25 a game or up, then absolutely it's affordable. And, again, you're not going to have only one or two plays in a week. You're talking multiple plays. So, it's kind of a catch-22, right? You don't want to be a player that just wants to play a game because you're watching it and you want action. But on the other hand, we do provide plenty of action, because there are plenty of games that fit our model that are statistical edge plays for the players. So this is not for our service. Faint of heart, and someone that just wants to put one play in a night. You can put whatever you want in, but we will be sending out multiple plays a night. Any game that fits our statistical advantage in our eyes, that we will be sending out. So you will definitely get your money's worth with our plays. I can tell you that.
Think about it this way. We always talk about on this show finding value. Okay. Well, finding value doesn't necessarily mean that you've got to play every game. You're just looking for the games that have the value. And you wouldn't be at a blackjack table and hit on 18, would you? Or hit on 19. You wouldn't be doing that, or well, at least I hope you're not splitting kings, but things along those lines. You wouldn't do it because you don't want to give the edge back to the house. Well, it's the same thing in sports betting, Scott. If you don't want to go ahead and give the edge back to the house simply because it's the only game on television tonight or your favorite team is playing, you don't want to do that. You'd rather go ahead and take the safe route and keep the edge in your favor anytime that you are going to be betting on sports.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I mean, if you want to be a winning player, absolutely.
Yep, and that's what it's all about. So I would highly encourage you guys, halftimemagic.com. All right, there's plenty of games going on tonight. Certainly an affordability works in your favor right now to give them a shot. Go to halftimemagic.com. Make sure you follow them on Twitter as well, at Halftime Magic. He is Scott. You will be hearing a lot more from him here on the show. You should be very intrigued. You should be, anytime you hear the words, "you've got an edge," then your ears should be like popping right now. And you guys should be heading over to halftimemagic.com. Scott, I thank you so very much for stopping by, my friend. I'm looking forward to having more of these conversations as we move forward, but halftimemagic.com could be a completely new way to approach the sports betting gaming world. I appreciate your time, Scott. Thanks for coming by, my man.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
No, you got it. Make sure that you guys head over to halftimemagic.com. It will really change the way you approach looking at games. And I mean, we've all been there, right? We're watching a game. It's not going the way we had hoped. We're getting our asses handed to us, and all of a sudden we want to go in there, jump in, bet the second half, and we do it strictly on emotion. And we throw any analytics and anything else out the window because we so bad want to, we got to cover ourselves. But the reality is they take the emotion out of it, and they're giving you the bets at halftime where the numbers make sense. So from that standpoint, if you are somebody who likes to do some in-game betting and you are somebody that likes to maybe see what's going on first, these are the guys that you want to check out for sure. halftimemagic.com. And Scott's great. We're going to talk to him each and every Monday, so you guys will be able to get a peek into why they choose what they choose and the way they're thinking and the way their algorithms work, so you can make an intelligent sports betting decision. All right, I gotta welcome a whole bunch of new folks here that are joining us in the chat rooms here. Vari's in there. Vari, for the first time this year,
has actually, now, you guys that are just joining us, first of all, welcome in. Thanks for making the Joe Raineri Show a part of your day. We ask that you subscribe if you like what you're seeing here, and go ahead and follow us and tweet us and like us and all of that good stuff. We broadcast across all 5 of the streaming platforms, which include Twitter, Periscope, Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. And Vori is a guy that follows us each and every day because he's a sports bettor, probably just like you. And Vori knows that anytime we bring on somebody like Scott with Halftime Magic or Ralph Michaels or the captain or Mark Lawrence, the guys that we bring, or Trendy Bets, which you guys are about to get their NBA play of the day, if we bring them guys on the show here and we're telling you about them, we bring them because, A, we want you to know them. We want you to get to know, and all services are different, and everybody offers a different, unique perspective. Nobody is always going to be right. Nobody's always going to be wrong, but people like to do business with those people that they know, and that's what we're doing, is we're bringing these guys to you so you can listen to them, you can get a feel for them, and you can try them, and that's really what we're doing. We're trying to eliminate all of the guesswork out of trying to figure out what sports betting service should I use, because believe it or not, there's a lot of shit out there. I mean, yeah, not everyone can consider themselves professional. Like they open up a Twitter page like 2 days ago and they're 98% winners, those kinds of guys. You're never going to find those guys on here. We bring you the best of the best, and you can definitely know that when you come here to the show, if you listen to one of the cappers that comes on here and that we talk to, you know that they have been vetted and that these guys have transparency, and these are guys that you can trust. I trust them with my money. I would never bring them on if I didn't trust them with my money. So I can tell you that is one of the things that we pride ourselves here on the show. So trendybets.com, for instance, is one of the newer kids on the block, so to speak. But these guys have been on fire. These guys are doing it the right way. Talk about transparency. Head over to their website, trendybets.com. You can see everything. You can see every bet that they ever made. You can see exactly who they are, where they're coming from. This is a great, great service, and each and every day here on the show, right around this time, they go ahead and offer you up their free NBA play of the day. Now, they did it a few times last week, and they nailed them. And we're going to pass along their free play of the day coming up in just a minute. Also, Ralph Michaels joined us last week, had a very interesting take on tonight's Kansas City Chiefs LA Rams game. We also, last week on the show, had the legend himself, Mark Lawrence. He, too, has a very interesting take on the Rams and the LA Chiefs, the LA Rams and Kansas City Chiefs game. You're going to hear from both of those guys coming up here in just a minute. But first, of course, we've got to thank our sponsors who make all this happen, including our friends at Miami Acura, who encourage you. Take it for a test drive, the all-new 2019 RDX. If you are in the market for a car, maybe a certified pre-owned vehicle, don't do anything before you head over to MiamiAccurate.com. The prices right now, unlike anything we've ever seen all year long. Now would definitely be the time to finally get that car that you want, only at a price you never thought possible. Check out Miami Acura. 855-564-4669 is how you can reach them. If you're in the 305, then head over to South Dixie Highway, Palmetto Bay. Brand new showroom, brand new building. I mean, they didn't spare any expense here. And you can certainly take the all-new 2019 RDX for a spin. You may never want to get out of the car, I can tell you that right now. But check them out, MiamiAccurate.com. This holiday season, if you are car shopping, don't do a damn thing before you head over to MiamiAccurate.com. BackStretch.com. Just a show note also, just joining us, we just heard from Scott at HalftimeMagic.com. We encourage you guys to check them out there. Tomorrow, the captain. Yep, the captain is back. He'll be talking a little MAC football, all sorts of good things happening with the captain. So you'll hear from him, and then a very special weekly edition with Ralph Michaels from WagerTalk.com. Ralph is going to join us Wednesday. He's usually here on the show every Thursday, but we're going to Tuesdays he talks college basketball, Thursdays he talks NFL and college football, but we're going to do Wednesday before Thanksgiving, get you caught up for all of those games. We're going to do a combination. We're going to talk a little college basketball, and we're going to talk a little NFL and college football, getting you ready for what is going to be, we hope, is going to be a very happy Thanksgiving for all the sports bettors out there. So that's coming up this week. That's what you got. The captain tomorrow, Ralph Michaels, is going to join us on Wednesday. And now it is time for our TrendyBets.com play of the day in the NBA. We encourage you visit TrendyBets.com for more plays of the day and their very affordable packages, including use the code JRS25 at checkout. That's JRS25 at checkout. Get any purchase 25% off simply by typing in JRS25. Give TrendyBets.com a shot. I'm telling you, these guys are on fire, and I love them. They do it the way it's supposed to be done. It's all about transparency. You know exactly who these guys are, where they come from. You know what their record is. They're not screaming and yelling, telling you how great they are, and then all of a sudden disappear when it doesn't go right. These guys are the real deal. I'd encourage you to visit TrendyBets.com. And here is their play of the day in the NBA. And they're looking Clippers at Hawks tonight. Look at that. Clippers and Hawks. Here's what they've got. L.A. laying 7, total 229. Here's what we know. Over 4-0 in the Clippers' last 4 overall. The over is 7-1 in the Clippers' last 8 games after scoring more than $125 in their previous game. The over is 4-1 in the Hawks' last 5 games versus a team with a winning percentage above .600. And finally, the over is 13-3 in the last 16 meetings in Atlanta. There, TrendyBets.com, free play of the day in the NBA is take the over at 229. And make sure that you guys visit TrendyBets.com. That's TrendyBets.com. Take advantage of the opportunity. Right now, any purchase, 25% off simply by typing in JRS, short for the Joe Raineri Show, JRS25. And make sure you take note here, guys. Free play of the day in the NBA, over 229. And we want to thank Trendy Bets, of course, for being a part of the show here and being a part of the family. Those guys rock. Alphonse Sidney, also want to thank him for stopping by a little bit earlier, talking about the Miami Heat. We got players throwing shoes in the stands. We got Miami Heat fans that have completely lost their mind. They're like Miami Dolphin fans. It's getting ugly here in South Florida, but some great information from a guy who knows Miami sports like the back of his hand. Love every time Alphonse Sidney, part of the 5 Reasons Sports guys, has a chance to come on. So that was some very entertaining stuff. Make sure if you missed it, you guys check it as soon as we're done here. It's the best part about streaming. As soon as we're done, you get a chance to see it again from the beginning. It was awesome. Want to welcome a few new folks that are stopping by here today, including Rachel. Rachel, thank you very much for stopping by. You rock. Vori. Oh, I forgot to tell you. Vori, for the very first time, comes here on this show, and all he has been doing for the last half hour now, he's a diehard Raider fan, and he's a diehard Florida State Seminole fan. And for the first time this year, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but for the first time this year, Vori has the opportunity to talk smack about both of them because they both actually won over the weekend. I never thought it was going to happen. I've kind of ripped them now for the last 2 months because it was a pipe dream, I thought. There was no way in the world he was ever going to get the Raiders and the Florida State Seminoles to win on the same weekend. But wouldn't you know it, they won on the same damn weekend. That's right. The Raiders took care of business in Arizona. And then guess what? Florida State actually won a game. Why? because Boston College shit the bed. And what I mean by that is not they didn't literally shit the bed. But what happened was the coach had an opportunity, 4th and 1, to go for it. And what do you think he did with just about under 4 minutes left to play? What do you think BC's head coach decided to do with this running back called Dylan? I don't know if you guys know this guy, AJ. Yeah, he's going to be a first-round draft pick. Why? He's the best damn running back in the country. And all they had to get was 1 yard. I'm not even talking 1.5 yards, 1 3/4 yards. I am talking 1 damn yard. All Boston College had to do was get 1 yard, and they could have closed that game out. But instead, they punted. And guess what happened? Never got the ball back. Am I right? Am I right, for it? Never got the ball back. So if it's the one thing I cannot stand in the NFL and in college, and that's why I don't have a problem with what the Carolina Panthers did yesterday either. And I know a bunch of you are probably all pissed off, especially if you had money line on the Carolina Panthers yesterday. But the truth is, Graham Gano couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat yesterday, okay? He had already missed a field goal. He had already missed an extra point attempt. So Ron Rivera is looking at this and going, what am I going to do here? Am I going to risk him missing an extra point here, or do I have more faith in Cam Newton and the offense to get the 2 points and get the damn victory? And you know what? I have no problem with him going for it and not having any, because Graham Gano, unfortunately, didn't give him any confidence, didn't give him a vote of any confidence. And when you shank pretty much a chip shot field goal earlier in the game and you miss an extra point, Ron Rivera's like, what am I going to do here? And the problem with these kickers is that they're mentally not stable enough to be able to have short memories. They're like golfers who get on the second hole, right? And what they do is on the par 3 second hole, they put it within 1 foot for a birdie, and then they lip out and proceed to 4-putt, and then they can't make a putt for the rest of the damn day. And that's what's going on with these kickers, man. They're absolutely brutal. If they miss one kick, they're no good for the rest of the day. Last night, watching that Chicago Bears and Minnesota Vikings game, there was a 20-minute discussion on whether or not, when they had 20, I think they were up 22-14, and it was a 4th down and 3, and they had a chance to kick a 47-yard field goal to go up and by 25 there and have be up 25-14. And there was this discussion back and forth on whether or not they should kick a 47-yard field goal. And my point is, you're paying these kickers 5, 6, 7, you're paying these guys millions of dollars, and they have one damn job. One job. If you cannot rely on your kicker to get the job done, then you give me the $6 million. I'll go out there and shank it all day long. I mean, all day long. I got no problem with that. If you're going to piss away the money like that, then give it to me. I got no problem there. But as long as you're paying that, I mean, how many of you go to a job and you might not be very good at your job, but you still have a job? How many of you would have a boss go to you and be like, you know what, you kind of suck today, so take the day off, don't worry about it. We don't need you, don't worry about it. But here's your check. All right, thanks for being a part of the, thanks for being a part of the team here. Are you kidding me? You're paying the dude $5, $6, $7, $10 million. What is Graham Gano making? $5 million, $6 million? Then I don't give a rip, okay? You throw his ass out there and you have him kick and do his job. If he can't do his job, then eliminate the position altogether. Don't carry a kicker. Carry a punter. Don't carry a kicker. Go for 2 every damn time. I'm sure there's analytics somewhere around there that will talk about that, but don't carry a kicker. But don't hand me this crap when it comes down to a 47-yard field goal, or when it comes down to, hitting an extra point from 33 yards. And I guess if you have that little confidence in the kicker that you go for 2 and you go for the win, which I don't have a problem with. My problem is that you're paying a dude millions of dollars and you're not using him because he sucks at his job. You and I we'd be out the door if we couldn't do our job, and we don't make anywhere near millions of dollars. But if we suck that bad that the people, our managers and our bosses, couldn't rely on us to get the job done every day, how many of us would still have jobs? I mean, I don't get it. Get rid of Graham Gano and get rid of anybody else who can't get the job done and be done with it. It's the worst. I cannot believe How have the New England Patriots managed over the last 15 years to only have 2 kickers and yet be to the Super Bowl, what, 6 times, 7 times, 5 wins? I mean, how is that possible that they've only done it with 2 kickers? Shocking. Adam Vinatieri and the last guy, and I don't know why I can't remember his name. I have no idea I can't remember his name. Thank you very much. Gostkowski. Exactly. You've had Vinatieri and Gostkowski for 150 years in New England. And, oh, yeah, by the way, you've been to the Super Bowl just about every other year. You cannot treat that position as if it's an afterthought. You can't be worried about carrying 14 outside linebackers if when it comes down to winning a damn game, you can't trust the damn kicker. Just saying. Because you and I, we wouldn't have jobs. Our asses would be out in the street collecting unemployment, man, because sorry, what happened to your last job? Well, I sucked at it, and they wouldn't pay me. Oh, what a shock. Why are you paying these guys? Spend a little more effort and spend a little more time trying to find guys and trying to cultivate some of this kicking talent. It's right now the most in-demand position. You've got if you've got a 12, 13, 14-year-old son right now, or hell, even daughter, okay, that can actually kick or is good at soccer and a thing, forget about the quarterback, forget about wide receiver, forget about you let them get them a coach and let them be a damn kicker. Because the job security in that position, if you're worth of it, ridiculous. You can work for 25 years in the NFL if you can actually kick field goals and get extra points. Just driving me crazy, getting me all pissed off here. Sorry, getting a little hot under the goddamn collar. Millions of dollars. Because no place else could you suck that bad where your boss, Ron Rivera, has so little faith in you that he decided to go for the win instead, which, again, I'm okay with. I'm just not okay with you still employing that POS if he can't get the job done. I think it sends the wrong message. Want to thank our friends over at Thrive Fantasy. By the way, it's the latest and newest and greatest way to look at daily fantasy. Think about FanDuel, DraftKings, and never having to play it again. I mean, how many of you play FanDuel and DraftKings and never, ever, ever, ever get to hit the withdraw button? How many? Yeah? Okay. How many are sick and tired of doing it? But yet you keep putting the deposit button in, but your ass can't withdraw anything. Why? Because you never win squat in those games. Well, Thrive is a combination of daily fantasy meets prop bets, and it's the coolest thing in the world. I can't tell you guys enough about it. It's so cool. We do a weekly live Thrive Fantasy lineup on YouTube. I'm going to give you more details about it. Obviously, we're not doing it on Thanksgiving this week, but we will do it over the weekend. You guys are going to want to check this thing out. It's the coolest thing. Thrive Fantasy. Make sure you check out the comments section. I'm going to give you a link there and all the quality information that you need. But Thrive Fantasy is the way to go. That is for sure. TrendyBets.com. If you guys missed it, this was their free NBA play of the day. Clippers at the Hawks. They're looking over 229. Why? Because that's what the trends tell us. Over 229, your free NBA play of the day. All right, so we had an opportunity last week, like we do, to talk with Ralph Michaels from WagerTalk.com, and we asked him about the ridiculous numbers in this Rams-Chiefs game. And the Rams and the Chiefs tonight, I think it's over at 63.5 right now. 63.5. It was up to 65. It's ridiculous. It's I think the most, am I right on that? The most over-under points that we've ever seen. Yeah, I think you had 59 maybe or 60 or somewhere, but 65 is just absurd. But we asked Ralph about the trends, and we asked him about does it make any sense? I mean, this was a +1 for the Chiefs on a neutral field. Now, when it switched back to L.A., it went to 3.5, and I think some of the books are down to 3 now because a lot of the sharp money's coming in. So can they do it? I mean, is it too much of a swing? Here is what Ralph Michaels had to say about the Kansas City Chiefs Rams game and how ridiculous the spread is.
Let's talk about the historic number first. Since 1989, so we have 30 years of NFL action. How many times has there been an NFL total over 59? A guess, Joe?
I'm going to say once.
That would be 7. There's been seven times where there's been a 59 total. No total has ever been higher than 62. That was back in 2000s. That was the 49ers and the Rams. I think that was the Rams team with the greatest show on turf. So, that total was 62 and it went under. But of the 7 games that have had a total of 59 or higher, they've gone 4-2-1 against the spread. So 4 overs, 2 unders. So, hey, if you do like the over, don't worry about it being that high of a total. Just a couple, in January of 2017, we had the Falcons play the Packers in a playoff game. That total was 60.5. So that was the most recent one that was over. That was the only other total over 60 besides that Rams game back in 2000 and that playoff game. So a lot of times Vegas can't make a number high enough. And if you like a total, let's say that's 37 and you like the under, or you like this total that's over 60 and you like the over, you have to remember this when you're betting. Vegas isn't making the line where it should be. This line probably should be 63 or 64. Vegas is making that line where they're getting equal money on both sides. They don't want a liability. They want to make their 10% juice off the losing people. So their goal is to get half the money on the over, half the money on the under, and where they made the line right now, they're getting that. There's a lot of NFL people that say that number is just crazy too high, I'm going to bet the under. There's a lot of Joe Public people that love offense and say, I'm going to bet the over. So they're perfectly happy with where they are. And again, that's not where the line should be. That's where they're getting equal action on both sides. So keep that in mind. I think the Rams are a better team with their defense, but there's something about this KC team and Mahomes. It just reminds me of New England. They get it done. Hey, Andy Reid just doesn't get enough credit as a coach. He's one of the top coaches. He's over 60% in every game he's coached against the spread in his entire career. And as a dog, Andy Reid in his last 9 rolls as a dog, 8-1 ATS. But more importantly, in his last 9 rolls as a dog, 7 straight 7 upset wins in those 9 games. So if you've got a guy who has a dog can win a game outright, I'll usually grab the points with him.
Wow. And it's yep, there you go. That is Ralph Michaels. Just thinking there's too much value in the Kansas City Chiefs at 3.5 points, and he's got a point. When you see a team like a Kansas City Chiefs who you think can flat out win the game, then you can either go money line or you can just take the points all day long with a whole lot of confidence. So that's exactly what you got going on there. That's Ralph's point, on a neutral field, the Kansas City Chiefs can win this game straight up. And if that's the case, if you want to put it in L.A. and give me 3.5 points, his point is I'll take that team all day long. Now, Mark Lawrence, the legend himself, joined us also last week on Friday. I asked him about the Rams and the Chiefs game and said, all right, what do you think? What's your take on the game? And this is what Mark Lawrence from Playbook.com had to say. Regardless of field.
Well, I'm with you. I think this move is a little bit too strong here. This is still a Kansas City football team that's lost only 1 game this year. And to me, the bottom line is Andy Reid is hands down the best NFL football coach on the road. In his career, 96-56 against the point spread in all road games. He knows how to win road football games here. And look at the other side of the equation here, Joe. The L.A. Rams, yes, they're 9-1 on the season here as well coming in. But this football team has lost to the spread 3 straight games in a row here. They're underperforming as far as Vegas is concerned here. I think the Rams are going a little bit backwards here. This is a big spotlight game for both teams. Whoever scores last probably wins this game, and with that, I'll take the Chiefs plus the 3.5.
I want to get your thoughts. Yeah, well, there you go. Chiefs 3.5. So right now, you got 2 of the best that are on the same page, but more importantly, they're on the same page with interesting reasons. I don't know if you guys caught that. It's not just take the Chiefs, and they didn't give you any of the reasoning behind it, which, again, exemplifies the kinds of cappers that you're going to have on this show. Guys that they're not just throwing shit against the wall and seeing what sticks here, guys. They're giving you games, and they're giving you the reasoning behind it. Now, nobody's saying you've got to agree with Mark here or with Ralph, but if you're going to disagree with them, you're going to disagree with them because you disagree with the method of them coming up with that conclusion. And that's how you become a very, very solid and profitable sports bettor. Not just because you're blindly taking the advice of somebody that says, hey, take the Chiefs or take the why? Like, why, dude? Why am I taking them? And these two guys are exactly the kinds of cappers in here. The captain tomorrow, who will also be on the show, same situation there. You heard from Scott at halftimemagic.com earlier, a totally different approach to betting a game and in-game betting, a totally different approach, but there's reasoning behind everything they do. It's not just, hey, pick your ass for no reason and not give you. That would honestly be like somebody, hey, pick your nose. Why? I don't know. I'm telling you to pick your nose. You usually want to ask why. And the guys that are on this show, the cappers we bring on this show, are the guys that you can trust, and you can either agree or disagree, but not just because they said what team that they think is going to win, but the reasoning behind the team, the analytics behind it. And that's what these guys represent. But both Mark and Ralph are on the same page here. Vori, I know Vori, I think he's 0 for the weekend. I don't think Vori won a game. This is how bad it's been for Vori, who joins us in the chat rooms. He is a diehard Florida State and Raider fan and didn't bet either one of them over the weekend, and they both won. So I don't think he won a game over the weekend. But you just heard it from these two. Mark Lawrence, okay, the legend from Playbook.com, and Ralph Michaels from WagerTalk.com. Both of those guys agree. Take it at 3.5. As a matter of fact, I'm going to hop on uwager.eu right now. Want to thank our friends at uwager.eu. Let me double check. And let me see what the line is at right now, because it was at 3. There must have been a lot of money coming in late on that game. Let me double check here. Yeah, it looks, let me see. Let's see here. Let's see the NFL. Let's see what we got. Also, shout out to Money Team, by the way. He agrees with me on my kicker rant. Right? I mean, how can you pay these guys millions of dollars and they be that incompetent at their job and yet still have a job? You know, and you're basically shuffling the chairs on the Titanic with these teams, and they keep getting jobs. You take one shit kicker, and they cut him. Well, they cut him because he sucked. So why would you sign him if he couldn't get the job done in the first team? Like, why does Cody Parkey even have a damn job if he's only hitting 72% of his kicks this year? Graham Gano, you kicked a 68-yard winning field goal against the Giants, and that bought you enough time to be able to keep cashing checks? Hell no, get your ass out of there. +3, by the way, Kansas City +3, +145 on the money line. To me, that's where I'm going to go. I mean, if I think Kansas City can just flat out win this game straight up, which I think they can, +145. I mean, it's winking at you guys. I mean, it's blowing kisses. It's, you know what I mean? It's licking his fingers. It's ready to go, man. The Kansas City Chiefs +145 is definitely going to be your play. The over/under 63.5. It's actually come down a little bit from where it was, but over/under 63.5 right now. My play going to be the +1. I'm going to go money line because I think the Chiefs can win this game, and I loved Mark Lawrence's rational decision because of Andy Reid's record on the road. This is exactly the kind of game Andy Reid coach teams continuously have won over the years. They did this. They've won in New England. They've won games on the road against top-notch teams. And they've done it right around here in week 10, 11, 12. The problem with Andy Reid is that when he got to the playoffs, he sucked ass and couldn't get the job done. But during the regular season, in this moment, Andy Reid coach teams, yes, they can get the job done, and they have gotten the job done over time. And Andy Reid is just a monster. Are they coming off a bye, by the way? I think they, or did they play last week? They might be coming off for a bye, in which case Andy Reid never loses. So I like him one way or the other. I like him on the money line. So that's going to be my play of the day there. Take the Kansas City Chiefs. Forget the points. They're going to win straight up. I did have, this is a good time to talk about this, but yesterday I had not one, not two, I had 3 parlays working, a 6-teamer, a 4-teamer, and a 3-teamer. And it all came down to Chicago last night. If Chicago won, I had Chicago laying 2.5, and I was going to cash all 3 tickets if Chicago ended up winning by 2.5. So I had a 6-teamer, a 4-teamer, and a 3-teamer. It all came down to Chicago at the end. So I asked a bunch of you guys. I asked all of my hashtag gambling Twitter peeps if I should hedge the bet. And I've got to tell you, the answers that I got across the board were varied. I mean, all over the board. There were the group of you that went, oh, hell no, we don't ever hedge. I don't ever hedge. No. You go with it, you go with it, you go with it. Didn't make a damn bit of difference how much money was on the line. It didn't make a difference that you should never, ever, ever hedge a bet. All right? That was the one group of people we have. We got the other group of people who are just balls to the wall where it's, no, now you got to go and you got to take Minnesota. You got to bet it all. Take it in Minnesota. Cover yourself. You got to get something is better than nothing kind of attitude there. So that was the direction I went yesterday, is that I ended up buying the hook, and I bought Minnesota 3.5. And the reasoning behind that was because if, let's say, I had it at 2.5. So if Chicago won by a field goal, I had already won those 3 original parlays. If I got 3.5 on a Minnesota bet, I got an opportunity of actually winning both. So, and that's what I did. And I do want to send a shout out to our to the folks, Professional Sports Pick at ProPicks14. These were the guys that that actually threw out the advice and went that direction and said that definitely go, buy it up, take it. I think it was minus 145. I think it was minus 145. Play. Take the 3.5. You have a chance of winning both bets. And that's exactly what I did. So I did want to thank those guys and send them a shout out here. Let me just make sure I'm giving you guys correct. Yes, at ProPicks14. So big shout out to you guys. Thank you very much for the advice. But man, you want to talk about people all over the place, which brings me back to my point here with sports handicappers and services. There's more than one way to do this. Okay, there's not just one size fits all. It just depends on who you are, the type of bettor you are, what you're feeling, dollars and cents. There's a lot of different ways to go at this. And I learned that yesterday by asking you guys, asking all of my gambling Twitter peeps which way to go. And a lot of you had same answers, but a lot of you varied all across the board. And there was no right answer. It was just what was going to work best for me. And that's kind of what this show is all about. It's presenting you with only the best handicappers that I feel, some of the best handicappers around this country and their services. I present them to you. They present themselves to you. And then you've got to make the decision on who works best for you and why. So, that's not going to be me. All I'll do is recommend you. I will bring these guys to you, okay? And I'll do my part, and my promise is to you that I'm going to bring you guys that are vetted, guys that didn't just open up a Twitter page last night and claim that they're 97% winners. No, we won't bring those kinds of folks on here. We're going to bring you the best of the best, and we're going to present them, and they're going to present themselves, and then you're going to have the opportunity to figure out which one of these services works the best for you. And that's what I can do, because what I've noticed is, man, it's like the wild, wild west on Twitter and other places here, with everyone seems to be a 98% winner. Everybody is the greatest thing, since ice cream to sports betting. And the truth is, there's just not. For as many good guys, and we've got a bunch of them here on this show, for as many good guys as there are, there's unfortunately 50 scam artists right now that are littering Twitter and other social media platforms and websites that are promising you guys stuff that just shouldn't be. So I'm hoping that you guys will view this show and understand that, yes, if they're on this show, it's because I believe in them. I spend money on them. They're vetted, and I want them to present themselves to you so you have an opportunity to make a decision of who works best for you. And that's really what this is all about. That's the brand here. That's what the Joe Raineri Show is all about. We have some fun. I'm going to yell and scream sometimes about some of the sports stories and things that drive me crazy, but ultimately that's what we're trying to do here, is provide a show that you know you can trust the guys that are on this show, but more importantly, you've got a smorgasbord. What works best for you? Who works best for you? And it's completely up to you. As long as you have all the information, guys, the decision is ultimately yours at the end of the day on what to play and what not to play. And what is that? Canes and Seminoles playing in the Champs Foot Locker Bowl. No. Who the hell wants to see that? Listen, the Canes will be lucky to play in the who gives a shit bowl, all right? Because I don't think anybody's going to care outside of the people here in Miami. Nobody cares. And nobody wants to see Florida State again. That's just awful. Why would you wish that on Florida State and Miami fans? Absolutely not. I'd rather see FAU play Florida State. Probably be a better game. Closer game, anyway. Do want to thank Scott from Halftime Magic for stopping by here today. Pleasure getting to know him. You guys will get to know him more and more. He'll be joining us each and every Monday. Check him out. Head over to halftimemagic.com. You'll see exactly what it is that I'm talking about. Also want to thank our good friends at trendybets.com who have their NBA play of the day, their free play of the day. Here it is. If you're just joining us, over 229, Clippers at Hawks tonight, over 229. That's your free play of the day, courtesy of trendybets.com. And do not forget, head over to trendybets.com. Any purchase, 25% off. Just use JRS25. That's JRS25. All right, and that'll give you 25% off on any one of the packages that you purchase there. And those guys rock. Take the Hawks under 229 tonight. And Alphonse Sidney, can't thank him enough, from the HeatBeatMiami.com, from the podcast there, 5 Reasons Sports Network. If you guys want to know anything about Miami sports, head over to the 5 Reasons Sports guys. These guys are incredible. And Alphonse is one of the coolest and funniest follows on Twitter, Alf954, at Alf954. Make sure you guys check that out. Good stuff there, Vari. Yeah, I know, Vari. You'd rather see FAU play him. I know what's going on there. Do we have time to run down the good, the bad, and the ugly? I'll make it quick. All right, we're going to run down quickly here, guys, the good, the bad, and the ugly in the NFL and what we witnessed yesterday. Number one, the good, New Orleans Saints. Can we all agree that the New Orleans Saints they are pretty much the most dangerous team in the NFL right now? I think more people are going to start talking about them, especially once tonight's game is over, and then somebody's going to have another loss or loss on their thing. But what the Saints did yesterday, that 48-7 throttling of the defending Super Bowl champions, they're now 9-1, and they have put themselves in prime position not only to win the NFC South, but let's face it, they're looking to do a whole hell of a lot more. It's hard to believe the only thing to slip up that New Orleans had this year was the 48-40 loss in Week 1 to the Buccaneers. Do you guys even remember that they lost to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Week 1? They have won, I think, 5 straight since their bye, 3 of which were on the road and all against potential playoff contenders. Their combined record of the teams that they have beaten, 28-20-1. The combined outcome of those teams that they beat: Saints 198, opponents 99. You guys hear that? That's ridiculous. That means the Saints have a plus 100-point differential in their last 5 games, all against upper-tier competition. That means that defense that was so putrid against the Tampa Bay Bucs in Week 1, they're not so putrid anymore. And they're winning the same way that the Saints won last year. People forget how good the Saints team was last year and how they were this close to be able to get it to go to the Super Bowl, how good this team truly was. But Alvin Kamara, Mark Ingram, unstoppable. Drew Brees he's ridiculous right now. I mean, the New Orleans Saints are as good as it comes. They are going to get another big test, though. That's right. Vari pointed it out. They got the Falcons on Thursday night, all right, this Thursday night. That's a big test. The Falcons are always going to play them hard. You got a nice little Thanksgiving battle there. I do believe New Orleans opened up as a double-digit favorite on this one. It is their least favorite rival. There could be a lot of points scored in this game on a short week, but that is certainly going to be a game that is kind of must-watch. Also, the good. How about those Dallas Cowboys? How about them Cowboys? Don't look now, but the Dallas Cowboys are no longer on a milk carton. We have found them, and they look pretty damn good. And the fact is, they are in all likelihood going to now win the NFC East because of what's going on with Washington, and we'll talk about that in a second. But they're no longer on the back of a milk carton. We have found the Dallas Cowboys. They have found themselves. They realize Ezekiel Elliott can run the ball. They have a defense that is lights out. This Van Der Esch is a beast. Not to mention he's got no neck, but he is a beast. They are playing amazing defense right now. They're playing the kind of defense that is typical of what we had hoped for, or at least what we thought was going to be a Rob Marinelli a run situation there. So I do like the Cowboys. I think they got new life, and the best part about that was going on the road and being able to beat a pretty high-powered Atlanta Falcons offense, and they did a pretty damn good job about it. I'm telling you, the Cowboys are going to find a way to win this division, and then don't look now, Jason Garrett is going to find a way to be able to get an extension, and he'll be there until the end of time. As the Cowboys head coach. Also, Lamar Jackson. Want to send a shout-out to Lamar Jackson there. Great job, but let's not get crazy. Lamar Jackson is not going to be winning MVP titles anytime soon, but I do think Lamar Jackson showed you what he brings to the table and how the Joe Flacco era is pretty much over in Baltimore. I do believe that the Baltimore Ravens' chances of making the playoffs actually went up now that Lamar Jackson is the running back. What they do, I think 117 yards on the ground. It's going to be the same situation with him as it was with RG3 and Michael Vick. He's going to have to learn how not to get hit. He can't be running around and taking 19 shots like he did yesterday in that game against Cincinnati. He just ain't built that way. He ain't big enough. But I can tell you he's certainly exciting, and it's going to be very difficult for defenses to have to try to figure out how to compete against him. The team rushed for how much? 265 on the ground yesterday, Baltimore. That's Baltimore Ravens football. So I don't see how you can go back to Joe Flacco. I really, really don't know how you're going to go back to Joe Flacco after this. But congratulations, Lamar Jackson. The era has begun for the Baltimore Ravens. No more Joe Flacco. Bye-bye, Joe Flacco. You know where Joe Flacco? Mark my words. Joe Flacco is going to end up in Miami next year. Can't believe I said that. Yes, Joe Flacco is going to be the Miami quarterback last year. They're going to let him end up. They're going to figure out a way to get rid of him because he's going to be nothing but a headache in that locker room for the Baltimore Ravens. It's Lamar Jackson's team. Let's just all move forward with that. But you could see a John Harbaugh, Joe Flacco combination make their way south here to Miami. Just saying. You heard it here first. Also, don't sleep on the Colts. Congratulations to Andrew Luck and Frank Reich. The Colts are the real deal, folks. The Jacksonville Jaguars are a hot mess. That team is just a total disaster. To lose that game at home the way they lost it with that defense, you signed Blake Bortles and you brought him back, and you know what? You deserve everything you've got coming to you. As much as I love Tom Coughlin, and Giant fans, you love Tom Coughlin, but whose idea was it to bring Blake Bortles back and think that that was going to be the future? Yeah, serves you ass right. And Doug Marrone has officially lost that team. They're a mess. They're an absolute mess. Vari likes the, what do you like? The Cowboys with the spread and the over against the Redskins. The poor Redskins. Maybe that might have been the ugliest of the weekend, of course, watching Alex Smith do a Joe Theismann at the same part of the field 33 years to the day, or I think within a day or so, of what happened with Lawrence Taylor and Joe Theismann. Just eerie stuff, guys. And I don't know if you also know this, but not only, I think it was 23-21 is what the game ended up. That was the exact same score of the Redskins-Giants game when Theismann got his leg broken by LT. It happened at the same part of the field, and it happened within a couple of 33 years later. The whole damn thing. And Theismann was in the audience or was at the field when it... Totally weird. The whole damn thing was a little creepy, but that's unfortunate. So now you got Colt McCoy, and I do believe they've brought everybody but Colin Kaepernick for a tryout. Mark Sanchez, EJ Manuel. Yeah, the list of people that Washington is trying to recruit right now is. I'm sorry, I just threw up a little bit. Threw up a little bit in my mouth there the minute Mark Sanchez's name and Thanksgiving are actually in the same breath. All I can think is ass fumble. Why? Because, yes, I'm a Jets fan. Get well, come back stronger, Alex Smith. The good point about it is they lost, 3 starting offensive linemen. Now they lost their quarterback. The truth is, it's not as if Alex Smith was the end-all, be-all to what they do well. So as long as Colt McCoy can be a competent quarterback and not lose games, that's all Alex Smith really was here, guys. And Colt McCoy has been in that system. He's been with Gruden now for a while. If Colt McCoy can just keep the offense on the field, don't shoot himself in the foot, and give the team a chance to actually stay close and win games like they were yesterday, I don't think the Redskins lose that much. I don't think it's as devastating a loss as some people are making it. I do think the Redskins are built where the quarterback isn't the centerpiece, where Alex Smith, what he does well is not lose games. He may not necessarily win them, but he ain't going to lose them. And I think if Colt McCoy can do that, they have a pretty good shot at still making a run at this. And we'll know Thursday. We'll know in a couple of days as they take on the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys will either take total control of the NFC East, or the Redskins will put a 2-game cushion between them and the Cowboys, and we're going to see what happens. It could come down to the end of the year. And one final note of the bad and the ugly there. I'm not do the Vikings, did they keep the receipt on Kirk Cousins? Can they get money back if they bring him back? Can they? $84 million. You got paid $84 million, Kirk Cousins, to do what? You know what? Win games like that last night, Sunday night, national landscape. Okay, you're talking Chicago Bears on the road, NFC North. $84 million was supposed to bring a winning formula, a winning quarterback for that kind of money to win games just like that. And you know what? I'm thinking maybe there should be some sort of refund happening. If it was me, I'd ask for a refund. That's all I'm saying. But Cousins didn't get a whole lot of help offensively, but still, I mean, I get Chicago's defense is really, really good, but you got to do a better job than that, Kirk Cousins, for $84 million. And no running game, by the way. 17 yards on 13 carries. I mean, don't get crazy. It's not – they're a good defense, the Chicago Bears, but they're not the 85 Bears here, people. Let's not get crazy here. And by the way, Khalil Mack was nowhere to be found in the last 2 minutes and 30 seconds of the game. He looked gassed again. Was his name mentioned at all at the end? I mean, he was really good in the first half of the game, but then he was not mentioned at all in the second half of the game. So they're good, but they're not 17 yards on 13 carries kind of good. All right, there you go. I made that, right? You like that, Vari? You like that? Did you keep the receipt? Give me the goddamn money back. That's what I'm saying. $84 million, my ass. And listen, I do want to thank Kirk Cousins. Number one, because I had the Chicago Bears last night in those 3 parlays. I want to thank him very much for the pick 6. I also want to thank him immensely for not signing and taking the ridiculous offer from the New York Jets, which in fact would have brought you to my favorite team, and I'd be cursing you left and right. So it all worked out in the end. Thank you very much, Kirk Cousins, for accepting the Minnesota Vikings job and being Kirk Cousins and throwing the pick 6 and making me cash in those 3 parlays last night because I took the Bears in 2.5 points. Vari, do you like that? That about does it here, guys. I appreciate your time. You guys rule. This was awesome here today. Do not forget, TrendyBets.com. Use the code JRS25. Free play of the day in the NBA. One final time. Clippers at the Hawks, the over, 229 in that game. Make sure you guys head over to TrendyBets.com, check it out, and use the code JRS25 for a 25% discount off of any purchase. Also, can't thank our friend Scott from HalftimeMagic.com. I'm looking very forward. I've already signed up with them, guys. So tonight, I'm going to be looking forward to getting those alerts at halftime across all the games and see how it goes. Love these guys. I'm so excited to be a part of the HalftimeMagic.com family. So make sure that you guys head over there, HalftimeMagic.com. If you didn't get a chance to see the interview, make sure you do. Make sure that at the, I do believe right after Alphonse, about a half hour into the show today, we had a chance to talk with Scott from HalftimeMagic.com. Awesome. Just absolutely awesome. And you'll have a really good idea of what they do and what makes them so unique. So I do want to thank, him and, of course, Alphonse Sydney, HeatBeatMiami.com. Check out the podcast, 5 Reasons Sports Network. Check them out on Twitter. Also, Alf954. Just a good dude, and nobody knows the Miami Heat and Miami sports like they do. So follow them. Great insight into the Miami Heat fan base and what's going on down here, and how unfortunately it seems that the Miami Heat fans are turning into the Miami Dolphin fans, and nobody wants to see that. We'll be back tomorrow again. Keep in mind, tomorrow we've got the captain. That's right, the captain will be here tomorrow, and then a very special combination of college basketball, NFL, and college football recap with Ralph Michaels from WagerTalk.com. That's happening on Wednesday, and then of course Thanksgiving, but we got plenty of money to make between now and then, and I want to thank you guys for making us a part of your day. We appreciate it. We're putting a lot of energy and effort into bringing you guys a reliable show with the best handicappers from around the country, so we're all better off at the end of the day. I don't want to see anybody get scammed. I don't want to see anybody get ripped off. Just want to have some fun with you, talk smart, intelligent sports talk, along with some of the best handicappers and betting advice on the net. That's what you're going to get here. Come back and join us tomorrow. We do it all over again, 4 o'clock. Make sure you guys follow and subscribe to us, please. Periscope, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Yes, you guys on Twitch. Love you guys. Thank you very much. Enjoy the night. Good luck. We'll talk to you again tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Have a great night.